Does anybody have any questions on homework stuff? Yes. Quiz, no. Quizzes are really basic. They're really just really nuts and bolts. Just do you understand the basic things that are happening, right? Bless you, bless you. Tests, I will give you a practice test with an answer key. I like it. Yes. Bless you. Yes, so remember on the syllabus, and I mentioned this before, the quizzes and the tests can be corrected. Yes. Yes. Yeah, we're going to do that today, actually, so it's a good thing you're bringing this up. So, oh my God, not you. Okay. You can almost see that. We got frequency, relative frequency, and then there's something called cumulative frequency. So I love that you're asking that, because there's certain things if I don't even got a question about it, I know nobody's doing it yet. So she's representing. Let's say I have some classes here, okay? Let me just make up some numbers so we can look at how this works. So let's say I set up my classes, I get my frequency, and I get like 11%. 23%, 2%, blah, blah, blah. You guys with me? Just like we did last time, we made the whole table. Okay, you weren't here last time. So cumulative frequency is exactly what it might sound like. How much do you accumulate as you move down? So as I move down this column, how much percentage have I accumulated so far? 11%. Now how much have I accumulated? 34%. Now how much have I accumulated? 36%. Yeah, you just keep adding as you go. Accumulate the percentage. That's why I call it cumulative frequency. You guys see that? So that's always going to be the same. Then you add that, bam. Then you add that, bam. Then you add that, bam. What should you get at the very end? 100% or close. Depending on how much these were rounded, right? So you might get 99.8%, 100.3%. If you get 102% bad, you've made people or things. That's neat. Don't be doing that. It's freaking me out. Or if you get 97%, you've killed some people off. Also, don't do that. Yes?
Are they always in percentages form? Or?
Well, I mean, so remember, relative frequency would have started off as, something over something. Mm-hmm. And then you divide it and make it to a percentage.
But so it has to go into percentage, not into
Yes.
decimal?
Yes. Okay. Relative frequency needs to go into percent. I like it. Technically it doesn't, but I want you guys to really get used to fractions, decimals, percent. Because that is one thing that's going to come up all the damn time. So I need you guys to get really used to it. There's a method to my madness every now and again. Anything else from homework stuff? Okay. Some of it is a little freaky, so I do sometimes expect questions. All right. So if there's no other questions, we're going to get right back into it. We finished up one. I'm going to let you guys, just to tell you this directly. Bless you. Allergic to statistics. Section 1.4 is really going to be a little bit on your shoulders. You got to read through it, look at all the terminology, use it correctly. Bless you. It's probably the mold in here. Killer mold. Too bad. Sorry. You're all dead. You guys with me? So 1.4, I don't want to see no population and statistic and parameter words. There are words in 1.4 you need to read about and then use them correctly for the 1.4 homework. Yay. Just reminding you that you have a book for a reason and that you need to actually look at it. Cool. Okay. Maybe there's a desk. Anybody have a desk? No, there's one there. Okay. So, there's no other questions. You're going to right back into chapter 2. I'm going to discuss a couple things, and then I'm going to unleash you guys on this little handout that you're going to work on. Part of it will be creating histograms. Oh, I appreciate that. Even if it was not truly.
You just need a little height.
Oh, okay, thank you. So what chapter 2 is all about? Chapter 1 had all these definitions, but we also got to discuss how does statistics work. We have a population we want to say something about. We take a sample so we can work with them, a much smaller group. I don't have time to work with 200,000 people. Let me pick 100, right? As long as you pick them correctly in the right way, then you get a random sample, and they can trust your results. Later this semester, we're going to learn, if I see from a sample 11% seem to agree with this statement of the sample, what can I then say about the population? That's where the plus or minus 4% comes in. We'll learn later how to calculate that. Okay. Chapter 2 is all about, not analysis yet, but the beginning of chapter 2 is all about just how do you show your data. It's called Descriptive Statistics. So we've already sort of gotten into it. I think I warned you when we did the histograms, they're not in chapter 1, they're in chapter 2. I think you guys hopefully would agree with me that creating a histogram is a way of describing your sample. It's the distribution of where everybody values, all the values, where they go. Okay. So one of the most basic ways, more basic than a histogram, to just represent data is called a stem and leaf plot. Alright, so for this, I'm going to have to create some data. So here we go. What you got, Chuck? I'm going to go ahead and put them in order. Okay. So let me ask you, can somebody see, like, is there something that's not represented in there? Let me just throw that at you.
The number 30.
The 30s, right? So if we're thinking about these are maybe ages, then nobody's in their 30s. Do you see that? Okay. So this representation has to have an empty spot where the 30s would be. Does that make sense? And that would be a quick visual. Oh, those in the 30s. We can see that pretty well, but imagine this was 800 data points, not in order. Can you very quickly go, oh, nobody's in the... No, we're not all Rain Man. No, 247 toothpicks. No. That might be a little old reference. You guys have seen Rain Man? Have you heard of that? No? Sorry. It was a good movie. Get some new references, Jeff. So to make this stem and leaf, I think the book just calls it a stem plot because the book is no fun, but my stems are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So don't skip anybody. And so this row is going to be empty. Now let me just ask you, what are the leaves that come off of the one stem? What you've got? 7. Yeah, 7. 9. What comes out the 2 stem? 1, 5, 6, 7. Let me put I didn't put any repeats in here. Let me add another 54. So I have to have at least one repeat so you can see what the hell to do. 30 is going to be empty. What about the 40s? 0, 3, and then the 50s? 4. Good. So you got to represent all your data. So if you turn your head like this, doesn't it look like a histogram? Or these are the rectangles? So the length of the rectangle is kind of like the height of the bar in the histogram. You guys kind of with me? This is a very quick way to get a visualization of your data. It also is a kind of a quicker way to sort the data if it isn't in order already. Okay, maybe. Anybody ever had a really exciting job where part of it was you had to alphabetize things? Anybody? Yes? What'd you do?
I work
Oh, okay. So you have to alphabetize what?
Products.
Oh, okay. So I worked in a medical center, so I had to alphabetize patients' names. So sometimes when you go to alphabetize, you take all the A's, all the B's, and then you alphabetize within the A's, within the B's. So that's why this is a little bit quicker way to sort. I'm going to show you how the calculator, which costs enough money, can sort data. It's one of the first things we'll do after this business. This is not complete at the moment. Okay. So it's not complete. You will lose points if you don't put this next thing up here. You got to tell me how the hell to read this. You got to put a key. So for example, 1,7 means what? 17. Don't put more than one on a map. Do you have to put more than one scale? No, because then you can just use that scale, whatever. Don't put one for everything because that kind of defeats the purpose. Now, why do I have to put that? Some of you guys are like, why the shit you got to put that, man? It's obviously 17.
Because you didn't put any names on the graph.
Well, yeah, true, but here's more importantly, ready? I don't know how you're going to do this in your notes, but figure it out. What if I made this the data instead? Right, so it's 1.7, 1.9. You with me? This would look exactly the same. No reason it shouldn't. What's the only thing that'll change? You tell me that 1/7 means, now I know how to read all this shit, right? I know the bar means that's where the decimal goes. Okay, I like it. What if it was instead, oh, Jeff, man. What the shit are you doing? Shut up. So what if it was 170, 190, 210, 250, 260, 270, 400, 430, 50, not 540, 540. This would look exactly the same. Because there's no reason, you could put 79, there's no reason to though. What would I put for 17 now?
Add a 0.
Yeah, it means that. Now I know how to read all this shit, see? So the key, if you define it correctly, you can make this very effective, very concise. Okay, maybe. Yes, so no commas. See that? See how there's no commas? I'm going to say that right now, so maybe I have to write that less. No commas. Indicate empty ones. Don't just skip 3 because there's no 30s. I need that data. The fact that it's empty. I need to be able to see that. Okay, all right. Now, bless you. So, I'm going to come to the point. Oh, let me show you this. Who needs to, let's do this right now, get this out of the way. Or, destroy property. Who needs to borrow a calculator? If you need to borrow a calculator, bring up an ID. Unfortunately, I can't trust people anymore. Your journal, okay? ID list. Don't go too far away without making sure. All the batteries should be good because I just had my class yesterday check them. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, okay. I'll go through your wallet later.
Right, there you go.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't want to get out of here.
Oh, phone is even more useful.
I never have cash.
Ooh, what do we got? I got one left. I might have 2. Hold on. Who wants one?
Me. This one's battery's low.
Of course. Really?
Yeah.
What is that? Oh, somebody must have killed it yesterday.
Yeah.
That's too bad. All right, cool. Oh, you want to get your, what'd you give me? You gave me this, right? This?
Yes.
Okay. Poor little dude.
I don't have my ID.
Well, I don't have any more calculators though. Yeah. Not real ones. All right. So I will always bring this cooler of calculators on like test day or whatever, but as you can see right now, don't depend on that. You can check them out at the library. You can buy them. And some of you guys are like, no, I can't. You can rent them. Remember I showed you that website? $9 a month, I think it was. You can rent a calculator. However else you gotta get a calculator. Huh?
Hand me down.
Hand me down.
Yeah.
I have a TI graphing calculator emulator application on my phone, but you can't use phones on tests. But like today, it would have been fine, right? Because we don't have a test right now. So let's do this. Oh, I'm going to use my calculator. You did that. Oh, I gave mine away. Okay, no worries. I think I have a calculator app on this thing. It's gonna be useful. Let's see. Oh shit. Okay. Preparing my windows. All right, here we go. I'm gonna make up some data. It's not gonna be in order. What else you got, Jeff? I don't know. Sure. Oh, let's see. I do. Yay. So I got a good old virtual calculator. No, just go away. Later. Oh shit. See, there it is. Okay, so if you have one, here we go. Real quick, how many of you are currently holding a calculator that have never actually really held one before or used it? A few of us, okay. Don't freak out if that's true. Let me just do a couple real basic things. And let me remind you too that on the website, there is a graphing calculator guide. What are you doing to me going? Well, you're the one that picked Edge, Jeff, that's true. Blah, 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 blah. What are you doing to me? Okay. Let me go to yours. It's all the same shit. Go to Tuesday, Thursday, calculator guide. Command. So there's some general stuff. Then it gets into statistics stuff. So the stuff we're about to do today with sorting, it's in here. It's in there. And then stuff we're going to do later this semester is down there. Look at all that shit. Okay. Also, if you go to YouTube nowadays and you just type in TI calculator sort data, there'll be 28 million people that want to tell you how to put that in the calculator, and maybe 3 of them you'll like. So you can kind of siphon through them and find someone. All right. Okay. So, put this data. Here we go. Let's first do a couple of basic things. 8 minus 7 times 2. Order operations would say to do what first? Multiply. So this should be 8 minus 14 should be negative 6, right? And it will be. Bam, because the calculator knows order operations. Also, if you've never used a scientific calculator even, you can now finally see every damn thing you put in, right? We will be using some rather long formulas in this class. Yay! So for example, everybody do this with me. Here we go. What have I put in there? Parenthesis. 7 minus 11.8 close parenthesis divided by parenthesis 9.8 minus 6 times, what do you got, Jeff? 3 squared. See the squared button? Let me stop that. I think it's nothing. This would be 7 minus 11.8 over 9.8 minus 6 times 3 squared. And the thing, if you just put this in there like 7 minus 11.8 divided by 9.8, you're not going to get the right answer. Because there's something about this big ass division bar that humans have an advantage over the calculator. We have eyeballs. We can see it's a big ass division bar. So what's hidden up here are these parentheses, right? There's a top problem and a bottom problem. You guys understand what I'm trying to tell you? A little bit. Let's all hit enter, see what we get. Neat. All right, so let's say right now, pretend like this is a much longer expression. I didn't want to overload you today, but pretend like this is a really long, and that was supposed to be a plus, and you're like, so let's pretend like this is like several lines of stuff you put in, and then you realize afterwards, this was supposed to be plus, damn it. So on the newer calculator, you could just hit the up arrow. I can't do it on here though. But on any calculator, you can hit second, enter. See how that brought it back up? On the newer calculator, you can just hit the up arrow and then hit enter and bring it back down, because now it can go up and just change it. See that? Enter. So now I get the right answer. If that was supposed to be a plus up there, you guys kind of with me? Trust me, later this semester, you're like, thank God I know how to edit. Do you see how there's a delete key? There's an insert key. I used to say, just like on a typewriter, and then that's sort of like saying, yo, my 8-track tape, I'm going to listen to that 8-track tape. No, it's so old, you guys don't even know what 8-track tapes are. I love it. My mom used to listen to 8-track tapes. Anyway, what else I want to show you? I think that's, oh, how do you do 7 to the 5th power? Where's your to the button? Yes.
The arrow under clear.
Good. That's my to the button. 7 to the 5th power. Now on the newer calculators, that should actually look like an exponent when you do that. Yeah. The sucky thing about that, here, how many people had it, if you wrote that in, it looked like 5 was actually in the exponent? Anybody? How many, it looks like mine, with the little caret symbol on the screen? How many of you just don't like to raise your hand? All right, because like, I don't know, it's about 30 of you that gave me no answer. So I'm like, what are you guys doing? How many of you guys are still trying to figure out how to turn this on? All right. What sucks is, if you want to do like 7 to the 5th minus 1, if you have a calculator where it looks like an exponent, you have to hit the over arrow to come back down. Otherwise, that minus 1 is going to be in the power. So this should be 16,806. So if you do put 7 to the 5th, you see how the cursor is still up there? You got to hit the over key to come back down. Also, someday I'll be able to do this and I'll do it. There's a negative key and a minus key. Use them in the right place. If you want a negative number, bam. If you want to subtract something, bam. Use the wrong one at the wrong time, syntax error or wrong answer or something. Okay, so let's get back to statistics. What seems to be one of the most important keys besides on, just to cut off my smart asses, what seems to be one of the most important keys for this class? The one that says stat. And there's one also that says math. You guys see that one? Here's something just to show you. See that very first thing? You hit the math button. Watch this. So if I put 88 over 962, would that reduce? Yes. If I hit, oops, sorry. Yeah, there's, it's been too long. If I just hit enter, I get a decimal, right? But if I go math, change it to a fraction, it'll put it into lowest terms. All right. Right, so don't you wish you had these in like math 88 or 3 hours or something? All right, so hit the stat button. And then from here, you can already see there's my sort stuff, but I haven't told the calculator any data yet. There's clear list, whatever the hell that means. There's also calc. I can calculate 1 variable statistics, 2 variable statistics, whatever the shit that is, whatever shit, and then other stuff we don't know yet. And then there's tests, we really don't know this stuff yet. So edit is where I can put data in. So everybody select edit. Now if you have the newer calculator, it's backlit and you can see more lists and ooh, right? Gave mine away, so I don't have that right now. Does anybody have data in any of theirs? Okay. Does anybody missing a list? It's okay if you are. Like, is list 1 gone or is list 2 gone or something? So let me, yes? Okay, so if you go to a list, now let me show you 2 things. So if I have data in one of the lists, if you have data in one of the lists, go in there. Go up to the list, see that where it went all the way up to list 1? Hit clear, not delete, and that'll clear it out. If I go up there and I hit delete, I've killed list 1. Right? Thankfully, I have the power to resurrect the dead. So I go into stat. If any of your lists are ever missing, or if one of your lists is called Fred or something, because they actually changed the name, go to stat, setup editor. And then it's very anticlimactic. Done. Then if you go back into stat, your list is back to life. Yay. Okay. So let's put this data into list 1, the data that I have up on the board. Let's see, 11. Why am I using the button so it doesn't matter? That's negative 5.02 over there, see that? Make that font bigger. Okay. So there they all are. Kick ass. Now, hit stat. Has everybody got all that in there? Everybody doing okay? You alright? On technology day, it's okay, just let me know when something's freaking out. Oh, you sold it. One more time. Yes. Oh no, it's dead. Sorry, buddy. Is this one you borrowed from me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, do you want to get your
Yeah.
2 dead ones? I don't know what you gave me. How are you? You're not here anymore. I already sold it. Oh. Weird that there's a market for anything. Yes. Oh. Sure. Go up to L2. Keep it warm. Once. There. I hit click. Yeah. Click enter. Click enter. Enter. There you go. Kick ass. Everybody else alright? Okay. So, now everybody hit stat. What do you think is the difference between these two? Let's go to A, let's go to I know, but what's
Ascending and descending.
beautiful? Ascending, descending. Most of the time we'll do ascending from smallest to biggest. Everybody choose number 2. You can either go down to 2 and hit enter, or you can just hit number 2. Notice how it's like a function, it wants something put into it, so I'm going to put into it shift. My second button is like my shift button right there. Shift 1, because right above 1, see how right above 1 it's L1. You guys see that? Right above 2 it's L2. It's amazing. So I can sort ascending list 1. And then again, it's very anticlimactic. Done. Is everybody with me on that? Yes, so now if you go back into your list, you'll see it's oh, I'm up to shift 1. See how I'm going into enter. Oh, so what happened? So now you want to go stat. sort. And then you want to tell it list one. And see how L1 is above that one. What kind of error?
It's like the
It's not
truck
a
car. It's like 20 years old or so.
Weird.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have nothing in L1. It's just put that data in L1, and then it's got stuff to sort. Anybody else? Everybody else on? Okay. So now if you go back in, stat, edit, it's all in order, yay. Again, it costs enough money, it should be able to do at least that. Right? We're gonna be using these lists, you should be understanding we're gonna use these lists a lot. I might as well show you this right now. If you got this in there, go over to L2, go over and then go up so that L2 is highlighted. Do you see how at the bottom it says L2 equals? So if you ever use Excel, this is a little bit like Excel. It's not as good as Excel, but oh well. If I just hit L2 equals second one, L2 equals L1 squared. Do you guys see that? So go to L2, highlight L2, and tell it that L2 is L1 squared. Every element should just be the square of the element from list 1. So up here should be 25 something, 25, bam. Yes. So if you go up to L2, so highlight L2, I can define what that whole list is based on another list. So let's try something different. If I do second L1, so now it's L2 equals L1 minus 2. Now they're all going to be 2 less than what's in L1. See that? Maybe, not at all. Bullshit. Okay. What happened? Let's do it one more time. All right, so go over to L2. Make sure that L2 is highlighted. I don't know why I'm using this tiny screen. I got this big one there. Make sure L2 is highlighted. So at the bottom it says L2 equals what? It's just waiting patiently, like tell me what it is. So hit second one. L2 equals L1, and then doesn't matter. Let's do squared again. Right there is squared. So it should square everything in L1. Bam. That's the squares of each thing in L1. Okay. So later this semester, we're going to do that several times, that kind of thing. Yes?
No.
You're good. Okay. All right. So with that in mind, I'll give you this. That sort thing is going to come in really handy on several of these problems. The back is the histogram problem, where I want you to construct your own histogram. On the front, there's some stem and leaf stuff, and then there's a histogram that's already created, and I just ask you questions about it. So if you want to start on the back, it doesn't bother, just do the whole thing. Okay. See if I brought enough of these.
How was your weekend?
Good. It was quick as always.
We didn't get a shirt like that.
This shirt I might have got it from Cafe Press. I can't remember. There's a few websites.
I think it's in my trunk in my car, but I literally just bought it last semester.
Totally. Oh shit, I lost track. Let's see what this is. I'm going to be wearing several math-related shirts. Some of my math-related shirts I can't wear to school.
Why is that?
Why?
Well, one of them is
Does it say math